Regardless how you feel about Vice President Harris, Trump is unfit to run this country. Well, that doesn't make sense because he's already ran the country for 4 years. And by the way, let's look at his economics. Let's look at his economic impact from 2017 to 2021, which were the years Donald Trump was in office. The average yearly inflation rate under President Trump was 1.9%. Inflation remained low during Donald Trump's presidency. And by the way, this comes from Investopedia.com, which is it's an unbiased website purely focused on economics. Trump passed the Coronavirus Aid, Relief, and Economic Security, or what we call the CARES Act, in an attempt to provide relief to individuals and businesses. The economic policies followed by his administration are now known as Trumponomics. Joe Biden, from 2021 to the present day, the year-over-year inflation rate is 5.7%. And I feel that every time I go to the grocery store. I feel that every time I go to a restaurant. I feel that in my pockets directly. Now, I don't know about you, but I'd rather side with the businessman that ran this country like it needed to be ran for 4 years, that had my pockets lighter, put money in my pockets, and also during the pandemic handled it beautifully by revitalizing and stimulating the American economy. More black businesses were started under Donald Trump's administration than have been started now. This is why Kamala Harris says she wants to incentivize small businesses with a $50,000 loan. She wants to incentivize families by giving them a tax credit, which, by the way, Kamala also stole from J.D. Vance, as she steals all of her policies. This woman had no actual policy layout until 24 to 48 hours prior to this debate. She doesn't know what she stands on. What is very clear to me is that she only knows how to pander to the weakest kind of voter. And it is by doing that, by pandering to people who I would truly call low political intellect voters, not low information, because the information's out there. They just don't want to go out there and grab it. This is exactly how the Democratic Party works. This is why you have to remind people, make them think that it's a party. This is why at the DNC they had Megan Thee Stallion. This is why at the DNC they had every major celebrity that they could pay off to get their hands on, because they want you to not understand or not realize that they're telling you they're going to fix the very problems that they caused. This is why I loved Trump's closing statement in the debate. She's had 3.5 years. She's done nothing. She's done absolutely nothing. And my question to you is this: economically speaking, and for everyone that watches this, economically speaking, which is what affects us all, were you better off economically under President Donald Trump with 1.9% inflation, or are you going to lie to me and tell me you're better off when inflation is at 5.9%? Because the cost of living, there have not been enough cost of living adjustments to combat inflation for everyday working Americans. There have not been enough regulations put on how many bonds we're buying from the Federal Reserve to combat inflation. Joe Biden and the Democrats and Kamala Harris, because this is her administration now, let's be honest, Biden has not been competent since 2021. She is continuing to allow the Fed to print and give us money and charge us for it, by the way. Go read Modern Money Mechanics if you haven't read that document. The Federal Reserve is a private institution that gives us every dollar we have on a loan at interest. They're continuing to let the Fed run rampant. Donald Trump has stated he's going to combat the Federal Reserve, maintain the United States dollar as the world's reserve currency, and on top of that, strengthen America's economy by pulling us out of all of these bad deals and imposing tariffs on China. China's going to end up paying us millions of dollars in tariffs, which is going to stimulate the economy and generate growth in Americans' GDP. That's somebody that I deem is competent to run this country, not somebody that, as I said on YouTube Live last night with Judge Joe Brown, somebody that has no policies, only political pandering skills. Judy.